Oh, yeah.
So, guess I have a minute. All people are.
No, not that.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome to the Marcus City Council meeting for March, May 6, 2025. The time is now 6:30 according to my time. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, just a couple housekeeping rules here is that way we want to make sure we silence your cell phones at this time. And also that we refrain from talking or discussing in the audience. If you do want to talk, you can exit to the outside and have discussions outside when we have a presenter or the council is in talking. With that, we had closed session this evening and we have no reportable action on the items that were discussed in our closed session. So no reportable action. Roll call. I'll do roll call. Councilman Clare.
Here.
Councilman Davis.
Here.
Councilman Baker.
Here.
Councilman Pro Tem McCoy. Here. And Mayor Middleton's here. So we're all present. Item number 6 is the approval of the agenda. What are the wishes of the council? I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
And a second from Councilman Clare. I'll do roll call. Councilman Clare.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Davis. I'm sorry, Baker.
Yes.
And Councilman Pro Tem McCoy.
Yes.
And Mayor Middleton, aye. Okay, presentations item number 7. We have the Greenhorn Reservation Fuels Reduction. Sarah Chaffee, the Resiliency Planter, speaking to us tonight. Welcome.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Sarah Chaffee, and I am the Resilience Planner for the City of Wairika. I am joined tonight by Captain Ryan Kelly with CAL FIRE. We will be presenting on Greenhorn Reservoir Fuels Reduction. We will go through the presentation, and then please hold any questions you may have for the end. So our objectives tonight are wildfire management and mitigating hazardous vegetative fuels, the role of the fire hazard severity zone map, ecosystem health and forest density and fuel breaks, collaborating with CAL FIRE and the Siskiyou Prescribed Burn Association, the importance of regular maintenance in long-term wildfire management, and community education, home hardening and defensible space. So first off, what are hazardous vegetative fuels in wildfire management, and why is their reduction critical for community safety and ecosystem health? Hazardous vegetative fuels are combustible plant materials that can significantly increase wildfire risk and intensity. They can include dead vegetation, fallen leaves, branches, dried grass, dense undergrowth, invasive plants, and overcrowded forests with ladder fuels that allow flames to climb from the ground to tree canopies. Next slide. So mitigating these fuels is critical because it reduces wildfire severity. It creates defensible space. It decreases the likelihood of catastrophic crown fires, and it can restore fire-adapted ecosystems. It protects critical infrastructure and natural resources, and it improves first responder safety. Effective mitigation involves reducing surface fuels, reducing ladder fuels, and creating fire breaks, all while minimizing negative impacts on wildlife habitat and ecological well-being. Next slide. Fire terminology can sometimes be confusing if you're not in the field, so I thought this image was helpful in illustrating how different types of fuels behave when they burn and how they're commonly referred to. As you can see, the surface fuels, the ladder fuels, and how they can go up the ladder into the tree crowns. Next slide. The Fire Hazard Severity Zone Map is an official designation of wildfire risk across geographic areas and an important tool we use when conducting targeted fuel reduction. These maps are based on factors such as vegetative types and density, topography, which can be slope and elevation, weather patterns, and fire history, among other factors. For the purpose of this presentation, we're focusing on the Greenhorn Reservoir area. Click, please. Where significant fuels reduction is needed. Greenhorn is a priority area due to its location within the wildland-urban interface, or WUI, where homes and structures are situated directly adjacent to forested land. Next slide. We are prioritizing fuels reduction in the Greenhorn for three main reasons: ecosystem health, forest density, and fuel break creation. Ecosystem health involves overgrown vegetation and dense brush, can choke out native species and disrupt the natural balance of the ecosystem. By removing excess fuels, we can help restore biodiversity, improve soil health, and create better growing conditions for native plants and wildlife. Forest density involves vegetation in Greenhorn has become increasingly dense, leading to increased competition for water and nutrients, weakened trees, and a higher risk of pests and disease. Click, please. And again. Here we have a picture of beetle infestation taking place, which inevitably can kill the tree. Thinning the forest allows healthier trees to thrive and reduces the likelihood of large-scale tree mortality. Fuel break creation. We are creating a strategic fuel break in Greenhorn to slow the spread of wildfire and provide a defensible space. This fuel break serves as a buffer between the wildland and our community, helping to protect nearby homes, infrastructure, and natural resources from fast-moving fires. Next slide, please. To support these objectives, we are working in close coordination with CAL FIRE and the Siskiyou County Prescribed Burn Association. Their expertise and resources are instrumental in implementing strategic evidence-based fuels mitigation efforts. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Captain Ryan Kelly to share more about the logistics of the plan for fuels mitigation. This map shows a few locations of where a series of a couple prescribed burns are going to take place.
My name is Ryan Kelly, fire captain with the Siskiyou Hand Crew. We have a map of the Greenhorn Reservoir and projected units that we will be starting with. The first unit is going to be Unit 5, will be Unit 5 on May 19th, tentatively, weather permitting.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you put the podium up just a little bit there? You might have to do the podium as well. I don't know. There you go.
This map represents the blue area, which is Unit 5, and it's going to be our first unit on this this collaboration with the Wairika City, and the burn that we're going to be assisting with. The next one will be Unit 1. I believe I'm sorry. There's a typo there. Unit 1 would be the white one, or Unit 11 would be the white one. And that will be the second tentative one at a later date, weather permitting. The affected trails for Unit 5, which is the blue one, will be Miners Trail and Kids Trail. Those affected trails will be closed due to public safety for May 19th, and the next day they should be open. We will be in presence there for the next couple of days to make sure that the units are completely out. And we will have there will be sufficient equipment and hand crew presence those days. Next slide. Did you want to talk about the?
Yeah, so this is another thing that we wanted to show, that the Frisbee golf course might also be affected. The holes 1 through 8 here kind of overlap with the kids trail and the miners trail. So it is likely that that will be closed as well during the prescribed burn, but the other side of the Frisbee golf course should not be affected. Next slide.
So here is a map of the units that we have projected and will want to assist city of Wairika with. These units have been mapped out to different acreage. The first one is which is unit 5, that lower blue one, is 5 acres. During the burn, there will be smoke in the area for 1 to 7 days. And the smoke impacts are the city of Wairika and Interstate 5. The prescribed burn will reduce dead and down fuels, reducing the risk of wildfires and improving wildlife habitat. It'll also improve the watershed value and range.
So the long-term planning map here that CAL FIRE showed also highlights our plan of a mosaic type landscape approach designed to reduce hazardous fuels, but also minimize large-scale wildfire disturbances and improve overall forest health. So it'll be a gradual process over several years. But yes, as you can see, Unit 11 is the one closest to kind of where those structures are down by Greenhorn Reservoir. Yeah, perfect. Next slide. So effective fire management requires regular maintenance. As vegetation naturally regenerates over time, the most effective approach involves collaboration, layering multiple strategies across individual, local, and state levels. This timeline highlights shared responsibilities that residents can do, what the city can manage, and how state agencies like CAL FIRE can assist. By working together, we can reduce hazardous vegetation and lower wildfire risk throughout our community. Key components of this timeline show kind of public works, city of Wairika public works responsibility, which is maintaining city-owned grounds. The green waste drop-off days, which encourage residents to create and maintain defensible space around their homes. CAL FIRE providing support for prescribed burns and fuels reduction projects as resources and capacity allows. Operational limitations are that we will not be using the air burner. The air burner operations will be paused during the summer months at this time due to fire weather conditions and safety. And as we're going through this, we also keep environmental considerations in mind, making sure all mitigation work complies with CEQA regulations to protect environmental and cultural resources. And then an educational component of this will be the Siskiyou County Prescribed Burn Association and our fire safe councils, helping greatly with community education and outreach. Next slide. So moving on to community education, home hardening, and defensible space. Next slide. For the members of this community, they play a large role in wildfire risk education. And one of the most impactful contributions residents can make is by creating and maintaining defensible space around their properties. You may be familiar with the term defensible space. It refers to the buffer zone you create between a building and the surrounding vegetation, which slows or stops the spread of wildfire and protects your home from catching fire. This space is typically divided into zones, each with specific guidelines for vegetation clearance, spacing, and maintenance. Proper defensible space not only increases the chances of your home surviving a wildfire, but it creates a safer environment for firefighters who may be working to protect your property. It's a shared responsibility. When each property is maintained, it strengthens the safety of the entire neighborhood. Next slide, please. So green waste days. You may have seen these posters around town or on social media. The city is currently hosting green waste drop-off days nearly every other week to support defensible space efforts and encourage community fuels reduction. This program is funded by the Wairika Regional Fuels Disposal and City Fuels Reduction Project, a grant through CAL FIRE that enables us to dispose of green waste with the help of the air burner technology. Upcoming dates are posted on the city's Facebook page. We have a couple coming in May, not this weekend, but it'll be the 17th and then the 31st. To help us improve this program, we'll be launching a short survey tomorrow. We encourage all residents to participate and share their feedback. Your input helps us better understand and meet the needs of our community. Next slide, please. And thank you. That's the end of the presentation.
All right. Thank you so much. With that, I'll go to any questions or comments from the council. No questions, no comments. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great information. Okay, our next item is we're going to be bidding a farewell to Jason Ledbetter, our city manager. As if people don't know, that he submitted his resignation last month to the Wairika City Council, and we did approve his resignation, even though we really didn't want to. We did approve him to leave us, and so he's going to say a few words for tonight to the community that he served here for 3.5 years. Mr. Ledbetter.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Wairika City Council. First, I just want to thank Sarah Chaffee, who came to us via an application to sit on the Planning Commission. She was not selected to sit on the Planning Commission, but the staff came to me and said, you got to see this person's resume that moved to the community. And so ultimately, through about a year or so process of engaging Sarah, a job opportunity became available. She applied for it, and now she is working for us. And it's just amazing to see how well she is doing in that capacity. So as most of you are aware, I hope, the city council and most of the people in the public, I have accepted a position in the town of Woodside, California, down in the Silicon Valley. And my last day is May 9th here. I'll start there on May 15th. So just have a very short commentary and just kind of an ode to the area and to the people. So first, I'd like to start by saying thank you to the Wairika City Council, past and present. I'd also like to point out that my wife was born in Wairika, and all of her immediate family live in the sphere of influence, Scott Valley, or within the city limits of Wairika. I first heard the lore and community goings on of a tiny little mountain town called, I'm probably gonna cry too, so. Of a tiny little mountain town called Wairika. Excuse me. While sitting around the kitchen, when my wife's mother, Berta, would visit us on occasion. Who moved where? Who came back? How someone from a long time ago was now doing? Who bought the Gillis mansion? And how someone's kids were doing? Who were technically adults in their 30s and 40s? How the holiday parade was, and how my mother-in-law would go out of her way to be someone's angel and help her regardless of what they needed. Getting very emotional here, so bear with me. When we would make our biannual trip to Wairika, I would be mesmerized by visiting the house my wife grew up in. Across the street was a park, and I was told that that was where the first gold strike was and how the park received its name, Discovery Park. The same park my wife played at as a toddler onward, where old thrifty and Polaroid pictures scattered throughout the house have Discovery Park as the backdrop for neighborhood kids screaming and laughing into the summer nights. These kids in these pictures I had met. They were grown adults who had moved away. Their parents still called Wairika home, but they ventured out on their own into a bigger world for the opportunities that they didn't look back, but to periodically have an opinion on what the town needed to get better in order to try turning things around. So upon my relocation to Wairika 7 years ago, I had a very decent understanding of the area based upon my wife's family experience, as Berta was a school aide, then a county social worker, and has been an active member helping those in need in the community for her entire life. Diane's father, Greg, arrived to the area as soil scientist for the Forest Service, fresh out of college from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Like many other that came before and after relocating to a sleepy mountain town from an overcrowding and busy Los Angeles suburb of West Covina. Greg soon became a logger where he quickly fit in as a character of characters, to some an outlaw, but to all a real character. His son Jess followed him into the forest or into the woods and worked still as a logger for the infamous Tristan Allen, a character and salt of the earth guy himself. My entry into the area pushed me deep into the far out places of Siskiyou County. My first 3.5 years in Wairika, I spent most of my time downriver in Happy Camp or Cecilville, out in Doris and Tule Lake, out in the valley or in the town of Montague, Grenada, or Wairika for work. As I was a health food inspector for 1 year with the county before taking over as the General Services Director, where I got to manage the hydroelectric Box Canyon Dam project at Lake Siskiyou. Thank you. The lake and surrounding property, multiple rural airports, 13 closed landfills, and 4 transfer stations I oversaw for the county and a bunch of other responsibility, which had me seeing even more of the remarkable and geologically magical area that is Siskiyou County. From the eastern high plain deserts filled with lava rock to the 2 different national forests, intricate river and stream systems, one of the most jagged and desolate landscapes in North America, right here along the Salmon River. My work at the county had me realizing that for such a small population in the county had multiple and distinctly different incorporated cities, each with their own identity and differing communities. Community pride is very common in Siskiyou County, and people generally get involved and get to know their neighbors. Working for the county my very first months in Wairika, and I witnessed a major fire, the Klamathon fire and its destruction of Hornbrook, and the aftermath of what a burn scar looks like and how it changes a place. As a disaster worker for the county, I played a role in the aftermath of the environmental health cleanup. And I got to participate firsthand in meetings where people who lost everything needed information and help. I'm going to make you guys suffer through all of this. I got to see the reality of how your entire world can be ripped away by a fire in a moment. Working for the county and living in Wairika, I got to witness the homeless issue and the ever slow evolution of a small town as the abandoned Boston Shaft was torn down and was replaced with a new Chevron. I watched the end of JCPenney and the Goodwill replace its location. I saw the upgrade to KFC and the gas station at the north end of town changed its names more time than I could remember or count. And I permitted a new little taco truck called Tacos Tao when I worked for the county. All of these minor changes happening before I became the Wairika city manager. So what you might ask is the point of any of this, really. It's the context. I tell you all of this because when I finally was offered the job to manage the city of Wairika, I had done so much research on the area and city by sheer osmosis and diversity in the work I got to do at the county. I came in as the city manager for Wairika with an absolute love for the community, its history, and its community members who moved away that I knew as friends of my wife and now called friends myself. I came into this job with a perspective and a passion that made this opportunity extremely special for me and drove me in the background throughout my time here. So upon my first day and being able to analyze my new staff, it didn't take long to realize I had the making of a remarkable staff that had huge capacity and an interest to bring Wairika back to prosperity. I took the opportunity to drive projects and new ideas into the community that would have overarching and overreaching positive effect and structurally change the community for the better. My first months tested my strength and leadership as I reported consistently and without hesitation, as Jan Osborne could tell you, to the council that they would be bankrupting the city if they would follow through on a $30 million aquatic center with only an $8 million grant to pay for it. I was immediately pitted against council members and upset members of the public for simply telling the truth and attempting to keep Wairika solvent. It was a great lesson my first months and would provide a callousing to my emotions that would prepare me for more difficult and important decisions that lay ahead. The housing element would be passed that would spur an interest in housing units the city had not seen in some time. A mix of market rate and low-income housing projects remain in different phases as they continue to keep creeping forward in their processes. Finalization of the Carnegie Development Agreement that put Carnegie Library into the hands of the Economic Development Council and a $5 million grant to rehab the historic space is now completing. Seeing the Highway 3 project through and the remarkable beautification and enhancement it has made to our town. My personal favorite, and I'll never live this down, bringing on Tammy to beautify downtown and Greenhorn with her amazing flowers that bring pride to being in Wairika. Helping drive public works projects, including the planning of an emergency filter unit to utilize our water rights at Greenhorn in case of emergency, is now becoming a reality. Helping the city come into compliance with Fish and Wildlife in order for the city to legally start removing vegetation at Greenhorn and along Wairika Creek to mitigate fire danger. To lead with Chief Gilman through the evacuation of the McKinney fire, and to gain 2 $1 million grants that brought us a resiliency officer, Sarah Chaffee, that you saw before us this evening, and an air curtain burner that burns Siskiyou residents' yard waste free of charge were 2 projects we got funding for in response to attempting to keep our town safe from impending fire danger. To get an engineered design for Ringy Pool started that will be the backbone of a future grant ask will lead to finally seeing Ringy Pool opened. Again, driving the ship to get the HVAC and roofing contract signed in order to finally have the theater project moving after years of no action. In my tenure, I fought to add 2 more parks employees to the city budget, and we see those benefits with well-maintained parks for our public to enjoy. Hearing the desire for not having things to do for entertainment, we worked with Discover Siskiyou to bring back the Concert in the Park series, secure a magical Night of Lights event, and add a layer of newness and polish to what is now known as Golden City Days. And the Debbie Scott Wairika's Farmers Market. We worked with the casino and the Clerk tribe on their expansion and consistent development of the surrounding casino. We sold the property to Pfeiffer, where they have broken ground on their expansion, which will lead to a more robust local economy. We took our yes attitude to the hospital and finally helped them bridge their gap between locations with a beacon crosswalk and supported their interest in a 20,000 square foot emergency room expansion. The casino, Pfeiffer, and hospital all came forward to the city and they told us the same thing. We need housing. We subsidized our own budget when possible, seeking grant funding to comply with new regulations. We partnered with the county to support a low barrier shelter and lease the property and prepare the site for a pallet shelter community, both set to open in the coming month, which will finally allow for a cleanup of Campus Drive encampment. We ran warming centers in the winter when no one else would. We had the council increase our capacity by bringing on more specialized attorney firms, allowing us to move quicker on code enforcement. And we cleaned up Bluebird, State Street, Nugget, and Lennox Street properties that were painfully blighted. We enhanced our communication to the public by adding a video component with the Siskiyou Media Council and Pierce Siskiyou Mindy Vella, bringing projects and events to life to showcase what community looks like. We partnered with all other agencies to get their PLHA funding over to the county before Siskiyou County lost millions in funding to help with housing. This money is actually being utilized today to finalize the Danco Mount Shasta low-income project. We challenged the county and local nonprofits to think bigger and change their attitude to yes, we can, rather than no, we don't want to. I'm not sure we convinced everybody on that, but all the while we did our regular daily jobs and kept our door open to the community as no issue was too small or too large. And in the background, we worked diligently to secure our Fall Creek water rights. The entire time we did all of this while we held fire ad hoc meetings, determined we needed paid staff and a new facility. We educated the council and the public, and we are now hiring firefighters and negotiating the purchase of a dilapidated Shop Smart site where the city will finally tear down a building in the center of town that has sat empty for more than a decade. We did all of this while being told we couldn't do it, that it would never pass, that things could never change. We did the right thing, as those who praise us now told us it was impossible. We watched council members fight over these very topics, but we never wavered in our diligence to press the next needed issue and item. Probably not going to make a lot of people happy here, but we raised water and sewer rates via the 218 process, which will keep the funds solvent and the city in a position to continue to finance large projects. We raise development impact fees where appropriate and maintain an annual escalation to fees for individual service like building permits. Our work has left the city with a 30% increase in revenue during my tenure. Revenue to enhance service with fire and build a new fire station, to deal with the cost of living increases for our valuable staff, and to navigate the uncertainty of an ever-evolving black hole that we call the U.S. economy. All the while, no job was too small, as I'd find myself filling in when we didn't have a code enforcement officer, and I'd be in someone's apartment with a thermometer, testing their water temperature on complaints about no hot water at a particular apartment complex. And a shout out to Juliana for bringing this to a true solution that will fix this issue once and for all. Or I was on a field trip with council members at Rogue Retreat, the low barrier shelter, walking the greenway, looking at the new pallet shelter site. The last 40 months have truly been a privilege to have been able to work to improve this community that I love so much. We're almost done, folks. So to the citizens of Wairika, to the city council, and finally to the incredible staff that work relentlessly and with their own personal passions to see the city of Wairika return to prosperity, I say thank you. And finally, a personal thank you to Terry Barber for an opportunity that kept returning on investment, to Rick Dean for expanding my mind like only a true cowboy poet can, to Jess Bray, who is one of the greatest, kindest, funniest, and outright helpful people I have ever met and was lucky enough to work with my first few months at the county, to Juliana Lucchese, who taught and challenged me on a consistent basis to strive for more and to challenge the system to work for our community, to Joy Hall, who I call an absolute true friend, to Phil Anzo, Jay Perkins, Jerry Lemus, and Retta Hogan, the fire staffing and fire hall team that worked to make that project a reality. I say thank you, and what an incredible experience to tackle such a difficult financial obstacle and do it in a way that will benefit this community for decades. Just amazing. To Madeline, Brian, and Sarah Collard, easily the two toughest people in Siskiyou County. Without them, we wouldn't have Crossroads, we wouldn't have a low barrier shelter, and we would not have a pallet shelter. I want you to think about, if we weren't lucky enough to have these two strong women in our county, then we wouldn't have a chance at getting folks off the street and cleaning up the encampment on Campus Drive. All things slated to happen this summer. And I know I've gone on long enough and so many more people to thank, but one last big, great thank you to Chief Mark Gilman, a man that taught me so much during the McKinney fire, a man I could always count on, someone who consistently showed up with the same incredible, helpful attitude. I often wondered what the heck his secret was. To Mark, I'll cherish your leadership during the McKinney fire, and your tenacity to keep our town safe was incredible to not only witness, but to experience. As we spent that entire day, Saturday, together until about 4 or 5 a.m. Sunday morning. I hope that I've conveyed the absolute gratitude, and I think I have. I've had to be a member of this community, and I hope you can understand that this job was always personal for me, as I strive to make the greatest possible impact on this town and for the people of this town. To my mother-in-law, Berta, her husband, Tom, my wife, Diana, my son, Otto, right back here. Thank you for all the support and belief in me. And finally, if he's still here, I'm sure he is, to the man who will succeed me as the interim, John Elsnab. We saw some stuff, John. We experienced some things, my friend. So we experienced some extraordinary events together, and no one will ever understand the serious and difficulty we faced in our time together other than you. John approached these difficulties with a calm and even-keeled approach. Thoroughly and without judgment, he helped me guide the city through very difficult personnel issues. John, I know you will do great, and I certainly wish you nothing but the best, as your success will now be the city of Wairika's success. Thank you very much.
I can't go first right now. Okay, thanks, Jason. I'm not gonna go first. I'm gonna, well, wait a minute here. Okay, I'll open up to council members for their thoughts to Jason or any comments. Councilman Claire is eager to go first. Thank goodness.
Well, I had the joy of meeting Jason. We took ICS class together down in Weed, and that's my first time meeting him. And I knew right when I met him that he was a good guy, and I was hoping one day I'd have a chance to work with him since he was doing ICS classes, and I was too. I didn't realize it would be in this capacity, and I am thankful I got to know him, call him friend, someone to listen to, someone to talk to, going through all this stuff, someone to help me through all this process. I can never thank you enough. Woodland, I believe, is extremely lucky to be getting you. And I thank you for all you've done here for all of us, for our town, for me, for the council. You've done a great job. So I'm bummed that you're leaving, but I look forward to what you have coming, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I deeply appreciate everything. Thank you.
Councilman Davis.
Well, Mr. Ledbetter, it's been fun. I've enjoyed working with you. I think we've accomplished quite a bit. And I wish you the best of luck in the future. I think it's going to be quite a challenge for you. And just remember, if the 10th comes and you don't want to go, we can fix something up here probably. You bet. And thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. We'll catch you sometime down the road.
All right, Councilman Baker.
Like to just reserve my comments to when we get together again this week, Mr. Ledbetter. You're not the only one who is emotional, but I just can't thank you enough for the vision of Wairika that you've shared with me. And I not only refer to you as the city manager, I refer to you as a friend. And thank you for the wonderful conversations that we've had and the wisdom that you've shared. I know that you're going to just do great things throughout your life. And I have no doubt that someday we're all going to look back and go, oh, we knew Mr. Ledbetter. We knew Jason Ledbetter when he was just the city manager for the city of Wairika. And now he's running the world. I think you have that capability. Anyway, Jason, I have so much more that I want to share with you, but I'll reserve a time with you later on. But best of luck. Godspeed.
Thank you, Councilman Baker. Councilman McCoy, Pro Tem McCoy.
Mr. Ledbetter, I'll speak of only one thing. You've done so many things, and as the councilwoman said, you have a tremendous vision for your city and our city. And you were looking 40 years in the future, which a lot of our constituents and a lot of us don't see. We can't see that. We're looking at tomorrow. You're looking at where our kids and grandkids are going to be, and I appreciate that. For 20 years, I have heard, maybe 25, I have heard that this council wants to build a fire hall. I've heard that for 20 years. And for 20 years, I have heard volunteer firemen say, never happened, never happened, never happened, not going to happen, not going to happen. I even heard it during, the election, not going to happen. Well, sir, you made it happen. And I thank you for that. The fire hall, along with the paid firefighters, this community deserves it. and we'll miss you. However, you're going on to bigger and better things, and I wish you all the success that you deserve. And I do look forward to working with Mr. Elsnab. So you have a great time down there. It's going to be wonderful.
Yes, I'm up. I will reserve a lot for a conversation we'll have in person or on the phone before you leave. But you and I were pretty new. I was only 6 months into my seat when I was elected. We hired you 6 months after that. So you've been pretty much the full-time city manager. We had interim, but wow, you entered at a very turbulent time in the city of Wairika. I watched the stress of you. You watched the stress of me. Not only you learned a lot, and you got to learn from us, learn from everybody in the departments. But I want to say I learned a few things from you when I was ready to give up, not want to sit at the seat anymore, not want to be the mayor. You just told me, gave me encouragement to say, you're not going to make everybody happy. You're going to get the pushbacks, you're going to get the disrespect, you're going to get the bullies. Don't listen to them. Get back in your seat and just rise above it. So thank you so much for that. And 3.5 years after you go through everything that you accomplished or we have accomplished here, and it hasn't been easy. Like you said, we've had disagreements here. We haven't agreed, you and I, on some things, but we rose above. We looked what was best for the city, and we achieved that. So to hear your tenure and your resume of the city of Wairika, what has been accomplished, you have set this town up for the future of whoever is that will take the permanent position in that seat that you occupied for 3.5 years. So I want to say thank you. I wish you the best of luck. Although I'm still, I'm emotional and still in disbelief, but have accepted that you will be leaving. They're very lucky to get you, and we're very unfortunate to lose you. So but I don't fault anybody or to better themselves or better their family and look out, what's going to be best for them. So I wish you the luck and thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you. So thank you. Okay. We're going to have public comments. So if anybody wants to take a few seconds, they come down for public comment for Jason, they can do so as well. So, all right. Number 8 is public comment. Public participation is welcomed and invited to all city council meetings. This time is set aside for residents to address the city council on matters listed on the consent agenda, as well as other items not included on the regular agenda. If your comments concern an item noted on the regular agenda, please address the council when that item is open for public comment. The city requests persons addressing the city refrain from making personal, slanderous, profane, and disruptive remarks. Council members recognized by the mayor may ask clarifying questions of the presenter, but no action may be taken by the city council during public comment section of the meeting. Under the Brown Act, the city council is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the posted agenda. This time is set aside for residents to address the city council on matters listed on the consent agenda, as well as other items not included on the agenda. If your comments concern an item listed under public comment, hearing, or new business sections of the agenda, please address the city when that item is open for public comment. Please speak into the microphone from the podium. Podium electronically adjust up and down to accommodate the speaker. Please state your name for the record prior to providing your comments. Please address the council as a whole. If you have documents to present, please provide a minimum of 7 copies. These become a public record. Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Since council is unable to take action on issues not on the agenda, your matter may be referred to staff for follow-up or replaced on the future agenda. The public comment period is not intended to be a question and answer period or conversations with the city council or city staff. Public comment at this time.
Summer Elmtree. You are going to be so missed, Jason. And thank you for every single thing that you've done for me, listening to me, helping me. Thank you. And the next city is going to be so lucky to have you. And tell your wife thank you too. And the sacrifice that she's made is amazing. Thank you.
Mayor, city council, city manager. My name is Luther Finley. I'm with the Wairika Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm the community services director, and I'd like to say that we're going to miss Jason's son Otto at our school, and your presence and your wife's presence. So anyways, it's but every Tuesday we make anywhere from 70 to 90 meals, and we deliver them to the unhoused community. We take meals up to the hill, and we also deliver them along the Greenway and at Walmart and Goodwill and over by Grocery Outlet. And so we've been doing this for over 5 years, and I've got to know a lot of these unhoused. It's wonderful to see Siskiyou Crossroads, and a lot of the unhoused are now housed up there. The base camp will be a good resource for the street people, but a lot of the people that are on the hill along the Greenway won't utilize that because in the morning they'll have to leave, and all their stuff will be gone that they have. You know, they won't want to leave their encampment. The pallet shelter is going to be a good solution for the court case individuals, but it won't be a solution for a lot of the people on the hill and the Greenway. An urban campground would be a good solution. I went up to Grants Pass, and I saw there they had two urban campgrounds, one by the police station and one about a block away. Each one was approximately a quarter of an acre, and had 40 to 50 people or tents in each encampment. And it was worse than a refugee camp. It was just jammed together so tight. There was no shade. They did have 2 bathrooms and a cistern of water, but at each site, but there was no shade. There would just happen to have a torrential downpour just before that, and a lot of the tents were collapsed and all their stuff was wet, and it was almost inhumane, you know, the way they was doing it. And I understand that there's a new lawsuit against Grants Pass versus Johnson, that they too close. They need to have enough spaces that they had before. We had the McKinley fire here, and within days we had a city set up at the county fairgrounds, you know, complete with cafeteria, showers, sleeping quarters. I don't know why we could house there at the county fairgrounds, you know, the cows and the livestock, you know, do better than some of the people up there on the hill and along the Greenway. The city has property there across from the city corporate yard, and it's a very nice piece of property with trees, and that would be a good location for a urban campground. It could be fenced up there at Grants Pass. They had privacy fabric around construction fencing that it could be set up with. There's water there, shade, and it could be set up with aisles, you know, that it could be easily accessed by emergency personnel vehicles. And so it would be easy to police it, a lot easier to police than on the hill. And so if we do the math, you know, 32 beds, you know, at base camp, that's going to serve the street people well. But in the morning when they're just going to be wandering the streets, it's not a good solution. And the pallet shelter, it's 19, you know, and 32, that's 50. And there's we have more homeless than that. And so anyways, the location there at 263, across from the city yard. There's a bus stop right there in front of the Speedway gas station. There's Dollar General right there, and there's also the grocery outlet. It would be a good location, would be out of sight of, it wouldn't be a blight in the middle of town, and it would it'd be a humane thing to do. These people are fellow human beings and they deserve compassion, and they and something needs to be done. So anyways, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Any other public comment at this time? Okay, no other public comment. We'll move on to item number 9, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial and will be enacted by one motion unless a member of the council wishes to remove an item for discussion. Nine A, approval ratification of payments issued from March 23rd, 2025 through April 25th, 2025. B, cash balances budget to actual fiscal performances report for March 2025. Quarterly investment report ending March 31st, 2025. D, approval of minutes of the regular meeting held April 15th, 2025. E, approval of minutes of the special meeting held on April 24th, 2025. E, approval of minutes of the special meeting held April 24th, 2025. F, approval of the transportation claim of the local transportation fund for the fiscal year 2025-2026. Authorize the mayor to sign the claim on behalf of the city. G, approval of resolution 2025-15 of the city council, the city of Yreka vacating a city easement located at 412 West Minor Street, Yreka, California, such as parcel number 053-352-160-000 by title only. H, acceptance of the city of Yreka's audited financial statement for fiscal year 2023-2024. The recommend city council for you is a motion to adopt the consent agenda of the city council, the city of Yreka, as presented. What's the wishes of the council?
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
A motion from Council Clare to adopt the consent agenda. To have
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
a second from Councilman Davis. I'll do roll call. Councilman Clare,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Councilman Pro Tem McCoy,
Aye.
and I, Mayor Middleton. Motion passes 5-0. There's no public hearing this evening. So 11, we go on to city business. This is the city attorney. This is a agenda title. This is discussion, possible action on the appointment of John Elsnab as interim city manager. Approve the employment agreement. Good evening, Mr. Jarrett.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The item before you right now is the approval of the contract for an appointment of John Elsnab to serve as interim city manager. The council considered options in closed session and directed myself to negotiate a contract with Mr. Elsnab for approval on tonight's agenda to formally offer that position to him, adopt the contract. The contract terms are effectively the same as the terms with your outgoing city manager. And the pay range would be the first step in the sequence and resulting in a pay of annual pay of $157,473. And fully burdened, that is $292,746. This results in effectively a $20,000 approximate savings based on the advanced step that Mr. Ledbetter had. And so the terms of the agreement also need to be reported. They are, as stated in the staff report and the accompanying contract. And they will match what the current executive group currently has and will have in the future if those were to change by future council action. That concludes the report. If there are any questions, Henry will answer them.
Any questions for the city attorney at this time? Okay, no questions by the council. Public comment. No public comment, close club comment, I'm sorry. So the recommended city council action is the motion to approve employment agreement with John Elsnab as the interim city manager. What is the wishes of the council?
This is Councilman McCoy. So moved.
I have the motion to approve by Councilman Pro Tem McCoy
I'll second the motion.
and a second from Councilman Baker. I'll do roll call. Councilman Claire,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Councilman Pro Tem McCoy,
Aye.
and I'm Mayor Middleton. The motion passes 5-0. Congratulations and welcome, Mr. Elsnab, to our city manager position for our interim.
Council, if I can make a quick comment.
Yes.
First off, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm truly honored to even have the role as interim city manager during this transitional period. Mr. Ledbetter was an exceptional leader and manager. I look to continue his success moving forward. That said, I also strive to continue creating and facilitating positive change in the community. I'm looking forward to working with the council, the community, and city staff. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, 11B, the city manager discussion, possible action on motions to approve funding agreement with the Wairika Community Resource Center to support public benefit activities in the amount not to exceed $48,040 annually. Mr. Ledbetter.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Wairika City Council, Jason Ledbetter, the city manager for the city of Wairika. So I am here before you on another emotional item, but one that I don't think I'll cry on. But Stephen Bryan is also here from the Siskiyou Community Resource Collaborative, representing the Wairika Community Resource Center with Owen. Good to see you both. So the city does not have sufficient staffing or facilities to provide supportive services to address community activities. The city can provide funding to those organizations that benefit the public at large. The city has identified that an opportunity exists to provide funding to the Wairika Community Resource Center to provide such services within the city. The Wairika Community Resource Center is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation with a mission to develop a collaborative network of services and support that strengthens the ability of children, youth, adults, and families to live healthy and productive lives, as this builds the capacity for individuals in the community to contribute to the well-being of themselves and their families and communities. The YCRC, through its partnership with the Siskiyou Community Resource Collaborative, seeks to improve outcomes for citizens by supporting prevention and reduction of criminal recidivism, reducing entries into the child welfare system, promoting healthy lifestyles, providing prevention and early intervention for those at risk of mental health illness, assisting families in securing access to healthcare and nutritious food, educating parents and caregivers in raising emotionally healthy children, providing those with chronic illness the skills and support to optimize health, and by fostering the spirit of community, neighborhood, and family support. So I was first notified of all the great work the Resource Center was doing by Juliana Lucchese, the Assistant City Manager, as her role on the Dunsmuir City Council had led her into a very close collaborative relationship with Stephen Bryan, where he was at that point based in Dunsmuir. Going down there at some point last year, I was really blown away at the passion that Stephen had for the community and all the very creative approaches he was taking in order to service the community with really little to no staffing and money, quite frankly. And so what you're going to see here this evening is I'm just going to go through what you would be getting as a city for $48,040 annually. And so the first item you would get is no cost to you, is that ultimately the Wairika Community Resource Center during its normal hours of operation, Tuesday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30 p.m., will act as a cooling and warming center during those hours. So probably more beneficial as a cooling center in the dead of summer during those hours. That's a freebie. The Wairika Farmers Market, Debbie Scott has basically felt relatively overwhelmed, had gone to the resource center who's running farmers markets in multiple jurisdictions here in Siskiyou County, including, I believe, Weed and Dunsmuir. Okay, but you are running Dunsmuir, is that correct? Okay. So very familiar with doing that. This is moving over to the park. I believe the McConnell or Ford Foundation came in to gap fund you guys taking over this process now. But the city would be paying $20,700 then annually to make sure that this farmers market stays within the community and continues to operate in Wairika. And there's detail within the staff report on page 247 if you'd like to get more detail. You would also get an annual Kids Day event at Minor Street Park, which Owen performed last year. This would cost $6,600. There was an enormous turnout last year. This would be September 20th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Minor Street Park. Everybody would be welcome. It would be a free event. There would be a lot of information. There would be a lot of fun had, but there would be booths with information that provides services to the community in order to get the word out to those in need. You would also have parenting education, mental health workshops. You'd have 5 workshops annually, totaling, or each individually $1,700, totaling $8,500. And so these workshops are very important to the community. People are having children. In some instances, they're confused on proper parenting. People are having mental health breakdowns. They need to be given the tools in order to rectify those issues and continue within our society here. And so this is another service that would be provided by the Wairika Community Resource Center. My personal favorite from this is something that really stood out to me. We've had advocates come forward. They want to see more things to do in Wairika. Sometimes they come forward, they're confused by the systems that operate in the United States, and they want the city to buy the Broadway Twin and start showing movies. And I'm like, we don't do that. That's communism, folks. But what we can do is we can fund, like we fund a concert in the park. We could fund 3 kids movie nights in Minor Street Park in the summertime at $2,700 each for a total of $8,100. So you can imagine a time period where maybe you have a concert, then you see kids for a movie, then you see a concert, then kids for a movie. So increasing things to do in our community for free for everybody that lives in our community and those that rely on our community, which I've learned are Hawkinsville, Montague, Hornbrook. A lot of people rely on the city of Wairika. There would also be periodically, this would not be annually, but there would be an outreach stipend for our community development department to comply with state law and gain more points, I believe, to be more competitive on some grants. That the YCRC would provide support to the city of Wairika on disadvantaged and vulnerable population outreach and engagement, such as promotion of city public engagement opportunities to clientele, conducting public engagement focus groups to ensure representation of the vulnerable population and planning efforts, identify and connect specific individuals that would benefit from participating in public engagement opportunities like surveys and interviews with city staff, and attend public engagement events to provide input on behalf of vulnerable populations when appropriate. It's difficult getting connected with these vulnerable populations and minorities within Wairika that need to have a say on the planning discipline. That would happen as needed. So you can imagine if you sign this deal, you would probably through the general plan be utilizing this in that first year, but maybe multiple years would go by and you would not technically be paying the $4,140 in order to meet this objective, which is outreach. So all in told, you would be looking at a not to exceed annual deal on a 5-year term that would be beginning July 1st of 2025, coinciding with the fiscal year begin date for $48,040. So tonight, the recommended action is a motion to approve the attached funding agreement with the Wairika Community Resource Center in an amount not to exceed $48,040 annually and to authorize city manager to execute the attached agreement. And I just want to make one last point before you guys discuss whether or not you want to do this. And you have the Resource Center that I think would like to come up and say a few words as well. That on page 251 of your packet on section 4, item D, there is a number missing, and that should state provide the funding up to $48,040. It's missing the 4 in there. So that's all I have. I can answer any questions that you may have, but we also have the Resource Center here to answer questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. And Ms. City Clerk, did you get that correction on page 252?
I did get it, but whoever does the motion, if they can make that reference, I would appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Hello.
Hello, council. It's an honor to be here tonight. I've had the extreme pleasure, as Jason said, working closely with Dunsmuir and.
I'm sorry. Can you go ahead and state your name for the record?
Yeah, I'm
sorry,
sorry.
City Clerk. I'm sorry.
Stephen Bryan, Executive Director with the Siskiyou Community Resource Collaborative. I was saying that I started my career with the collaborative I was the program manager for Mount Shasta and Dunsmuir. I saw great change to the community of Dunsmuir when Juliana came to town and joined the council and first approached me when she worked in Mount Shasta with the Planning Commission. A lot of great change that in vision and volunteer and dedication from her. So thank you, Juliana. We were able to do some really good things for the community down there that are ongoing and we build upon every year. Our volunteer base has grown dramatically to help us with our Dunsmuir Community Garden in downtown, our community events like the Family Fun Night at the park. I look forward to the opportunity to do the same here in Wairika. There's Wairika, like Jason said, is a tremendous community that deserves the opportunity to get out of isolation, to connect more with social connections, to improve their mental health, to build upon their relationships with each other, to support each other, and a brighter future for all in Wairika. Siskiyou County's a wonderful county. I really take a lot of pride in working here, and I care about all the communities. And it's one of the fun things about my job is I get to go to different communities, and it's completely different than the last community you just left, and it just really keeps it interesting and fun to work with all these unique communities and individuals that really care. And it's an honor to be the director for the collaborative. And now we have Owen, who's our program manager here in Wairika, who's got lots of great ideas and great energy and vision as well. And I'm really going to miss this guy right here. I really enjoyed giving you a tour of Dunsmuir last summer and just any interaction we've ever had. So, and your vision as well. And I'm really happy for the community you're going to and really sad for the community you're leaving. So thank you for everything you've done, Jason, for Wairika. And any questions you have, and I'll let Owen speak for a minute if you'd like to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Owen Jones, Program Manager at the Wairika Community Resource Center. I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. I really appreciate you guys considering this motion and this potential partnership going forward. In the short time that I've lived here in Wairika, I've really grown to love this community. And God, I'm going to get emotional, Jason. And I second everybody's comments for you as well. One of the first people I met here that actually made me feel very welcome and encouraged to stay put and that I could keep going ahead. So I just want to let you know that. But I'm honored to help this community and to help it grow and see what the future has for us here. And so I just really appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. All right, so I'll go to council for any questions or comments. Anybody?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right, no questions from the council, so I'll go to public comment or questions.
First off, I love this raising podium. My name is Michael Clarno. I am the mayor of Dunsmuir. I just wanted to come tonight to just give some positive words about the work Stephen or Brian has done in Dunsmuir, and just kind of give you a little bit of what we've seen through our support of the Community Resource Center. But before I do that, I just want to say, Jason, I know how much work and how much time and effort and heart you've poured into this city. I wish you all the best, and I know everyone here will be missing you greatly. So, yeah. And with that, also, I'd like to say thanks for having me tonight. I know I've met most of you at various League of Local Agency meetings, and I look forward to having conversations with I believe the one or two of you that I haven't, the next one, which will be in Dunsmuir in July. The city of Dunsmuir has been providing money to the Community Resource Center through various forms, mainly a city-run grant program, for as long as I have been on council. And every single dollar that we've given to that program has been well worth it. And I know the next time Steven's up in front of me asking for money, he'll remind me that I said that to you tonight. The programs are just so valuable for, sorry, that beeping sounds exactly like our 3-minute timer being up. So the programs do so much to support the children and families in our community, get access to programs, to just make the community a better place and make it a safer place for the kids, make it a better place for families, and make it a better place to live. And I very much hope that you support the program. When Stephen or Brian left or became the director for the entire network, I was so happy that the rest of Siskiyou County could see some of what we saw in Dunsmuir. So with that, I will wrap up my comments.
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Andrea Herr. I live in Dunsmuir, but I also lived in Little Shasta for quite a few years and so love the area. I'd like to encourage you to provide some funding for the Wairika Community Resource Center. I spent a little more than 5 years working for the Family and Community Resource Center in Weed and also the long-term recovery team after the Bulls fire. And I've spent about over 5 years as a community member, just seeing the work that the Resource Center is doing in Weed, in Dunsmuir, and referring people in need to them, and also using some of their services myself and with my husband. Resource centers provide, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. Resource centers provide very direct services to people in the community. For example, the parenting classes, and we have these at Weed, we have them in each community. The parenting classes are very effective because they continue. It's not like a one-shot thing, and people need that practice. So these go on for well, some of the classes have been. Do you still have classes that have been going on for years? Because people like them, and the parents, love them. They are effective, and they have trained trained staff working with them, but they also have childcare and dinner so that the parent can come to the class, every week. The parents gain friendships and support from the other parents and also from the staff. There are play groups and for children weekly, and workshops that help people with mental health, with nutrition, all kinds of different areas. Resource centers help people access needed services. For example, help with energy bills, mental health services, help with food, and stretching those dollars at the end of the month, housing, veteran services, and so on. In Weed, we provided a senior lunch. They still provide the senior lunch, and sometimes often have as many as 90 people for the senior lunch. And that's something the Resource Center has done, for years now. When my husband and I were ready for Medicare and the supplemental health insurance, we visited with the high cap volunteers in a high cap volunteer in Mount Shasta, 3 visits, and he was incredibly knowledgeable and dedicated. And, we're still happy with the decisions we made at that time with his help. Now my husband and I are retired. I'm retired in Dunsmuir, helping my husband who has health issues and disabilities. And let's see. So we see all the resource center is providing to people in the community there. And I was going to mention just a couple of these recent ones. We both went to a volunteer fair in Dunsmuir that the Resource Center helped to sponsor or helped to organize. And we were there for the Rotary Club, but there was plenty of help. So I visited some of the different services that were there, and found out about a fire mitigation service that was going to be provided by volunteers, and signed up for it. And they came and worked incredibly hard, making our home more fire safe. My husband and I recently went to a senior lunch and resource fair that the Resource Center put on. It was a great opportunity for people to visit with one another and meet new friends, have a good lunch, and also learn about, again, services that were available, resources that are available to seniors in the community. I am a huge advocate and fan of farmers markets, and was involved with the farmers market for a long time. And I'm just so pleased to see the Resource Center taking that on. And I just encourage you to fund these, the Resource Center. And Steve is a wonderful, positive, can-do person who makes things happen. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment at this time?
My name is Dorleen Reynolds, and I work at the Wairika Community Resource Center, and I assist Stephen Bryan with whatever he needs. I'm his assistant. But what I wanted to tell you is every dollar that you provide the Community Resource Center will be stretched to the limit, because we want to provide more than just a handout. We want to provide a hand up. And that means that we are trying to build the community stronger, so that our children and our children's children and our great grandchildren will have a place that they can call home, that's safe, that provides them with the knowledge that they need. Because as a community that's rural, we don't have as many resources. So having a resource center show us where it all is amazing. And I too have used our services before I started working here. And I was truly amazed when I came and found that I could find services for my children and for my mother and for my dad. And I'm truly blessed to have the resource center here in our community. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time to think about it.
Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? I will close public comment, and we'll go to council for any comment or questions. Councilman Baker?
I actually would like to make the motion to approve the funding agreement with the Wairika Community Resource Center in an amount not to exceed $48,040 annually, and to authorize the city manager to execute the attached agreement with the following correction on page 251, paragraph 4D. Provide the funding up to $48,040 per year.
All right, and I have the motion to approve from Councilman Baker
I'll second that.
and a second from Councilman Davis. I'll do roll call. Councilman Clare,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Councilman McCoy,
Aye.
Mayor Middleton, aye. The motion passes 5-0. Okay. The next item is 11C. This is our Assistant City Manager, Community Devoted Director, and Resilience Planner. Agenda title. This is the backup generator for power resilience project.
Good evening, Council. Sarah Chaffee, Resilience Planner for the City of Wairika. We're introducing the backup generator for power resilience project. This project is a critical infrastructure investment that will transform City Hall's emergency response capabilities. This project centers on the installation of a backup power system that allows City Hall to remain fully operational during emergencies, power outages, and hazard events. Beyond maintaining essential government functions, this infrastructure upgrade opens the door for City Hall to function as a resiliency hub, a service that does not currently exist in Siskiyou County. City Hall can also serve as a secondary emergency operations center. It will also allow City Hall to become a reliable public access point for information. So the need in our community is, in recent years, residents of Wairika have faced increasingly frequent power outages and public safety power shutoffs, coinciding with extreme weather conditions and threats of wildfire. During these outages, vulnerable populations are left in desperate conditions, lacking access to information, power, and refuge. Our solution to this is we cannot prevent hazard events, but we can control our preparedness efforts. The installation of a backup generator at Wairika City Hall would help to maintain continuity of essential city services during outages and hazard events, establish a formal public information access point, provide coordination of critical resources and emergency services, offer device charging capabilities, and this includes medical devices or cell phone charging, and create refuge from extreme weather conditions. This project directly advances the City of Wairika's priority objectives by improving emergency preparedness efforts by building resilient capabilities, modernizing critical infrastructure by upgrading City Hall's energy systems, supporting economic stability by minimizing disruptions to city services. The impact for this project would be by investing in this infrastructure upgrade, Wairika is strengthening its emergency preparedness and recovery capabilities, creating the foundation for a more resilient community in the face of future shocks. The proposed timeline for this project would be about 6 months, with an estimated start date in July of this year. Stages would include planning, coordination, budget proposals, site preparation, equipment installation, testing and inspections, staff training, and project completion, along with community outreach. The location for the generator, there's a map in your packet, but it would either be directly to the right here or to the left in the parking lot.
Yeah, so the purpose of the project, Sarah kind of covered for everyone. One of the things that Sarah is working on for us is improving our communication with the general public, as well as providing communication avenues during situations that are emergencies. One of the outcomes of our initial workshop was that people were very concerned over communication. How are they going to get it if power is down? How are we going to communicate with multiple different types of people with multimedia options? And so this will ensure that City Hall stays up and running during those emergency points, and also keeps people away from our current emergency operations center, which is the police department. So essentially during emergencies, we ensure that our first responders, public safety workers have their emergency center, and this would serve as more of a community hub to centralize people with good information, because as we know, with all of our wildfires or other types of events that happen here in Siskiyou County. There's a lot of information and we have to sort through what is good information. And so we can serve as that hub. The other thing that we're working on in tandem with this is we are also training all of our city staff to be disaster workers, which is a state requirement. And so we've been doing a number of trainings and scenarios where our utility billing, our fiscal analysts, everyone in this city hall building would be serving a purpose in the response to disasters and post-disaster recovery. So what a lot of people don't realize, so with the fires in Altadena, as well as the Palisades, is that the minute the fire is done, we immediately start post-disaster recovery. And we basically need to get up and running to start looking at the damage, assessing properties, guiding people through building permits, working with insurance agencies. And one of the other things we have is we do not have backup power at the community center. So we do also need a hub where you can go to get your personal documents redone. So again, social security cards, birth certificates, all of these things that you need that you don't think that you need until they're gone are very difficult to get. And so this can serve as a point where if we do lose power, or if it is a long-term emergency where power is intermittent, we would be able to stay up and running to provide those services. So what we've done is this would be a general fund expense. We have applied to the McConnell Foundation for $50,000. We are being considered as finalists for that. This item is essentially needed for that final consideration. If you do not move forward with the project, we would not be able to get that funding, but that's okay. We can wait and reapply when you find it's more appropriate. But we do happen to have a number of resources that we're shifting around in the general fund to be able to afford this project. The other option is we can elongate the project over 2 fiscal years instead of 1 if we do have any concerns with general fund revenues to pay for this project itself. We did also get a Pacific Power grant for $5,000 that will go to the project as well. So that's all very helpful for us going forward with that project. And we'll open it up if you have any questions before public comment.
Any questions from council?
Oh, and I apologize. I forgot to mention a majority of the cost to the city's general fund is actually our own public works crew will be doing the demolition site work, which is allowed under some new ordinances we passed called CUPCA, if you remember. Please don't ask me what CUPCA stands for. It's something to do with uniform construction costs. But essentially what it allows us to do is to use our own work crews to do some construction activity on our own sites that we have previously had to bid out to other contractors, which will save us some money because you already have those people on staff. And so we have done the internal accounting so that 295,000 contribution from the city's general fund would be their time and labor as well. So that is calculated into that estimate.
Okay, Councilman Baker.
Thank you. Do you have an estimate of the labor costs?
We do not. So it will depend on which location, which site location will end up being the final location. For example, out here, we do have a water meter box and a water line that will need to be moved. Where over here, we have another location where some underground power will have to be moved. And so once we get into the ground and do some test pits, we'll have a better estimation in how much labor we would be able to do, or how much labor would be needed to move those underground utilities.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Any other questions or comment? Okay, I'll open up to public comment. Questions? Okay, no public comment or questions. I'll close it and come back to the council for their wishes of sorry, I forgot what was on 11C.
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution 2025-16 of the City Council of the City of Wairika approving the City Hall Emergency Backup Generator Project, appropriating funds and adopting a California Environmental Quality Act exemption.
I have a motion for Councilman Baker. I'll second the motion. I'll go to roll call. Councilman Clerk.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
I vote yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Pro Tem Councilman McCoy,
Aye.
and I'm Mayor Middleton. The motion passes 5-0. Okay, great. Now we move on to, this is 11D. This is going to be the appointment of the new mayor and the mayor pro tem. And voting for that. And before we move on to that, I just want to take a minute to say, during my time here, my tenure as mayor for the last 2.5 years, it's been a great honor to sit here and be the mayor of my hometown that I'm a fourth generation of. And after 2 years of sitting here, being selected by 4 of our council members at the time to be the sitting mayor. So it's been a great honor to serve you as the mayor. Even though I'm not going to be leaving the diocese, I will leave the seat here as the mayor tonight and move back to the council seat. What the public has a misconception of is that they think the mayor gets a lot more money. We don't. We get same pay as little pay as we do sitting down here as council members. And we don't have a lot of power just running a meeting. They think we can overrule our city manager and overrule the council, and that's just not the case. We try to direct a ship, and sometimes that ship gets a little bumpy. And but it's been an honor. It hasn't been easy. You're never going to make everybody happy, but I will say it's been an honor to be able to leave and well, here tonight, but I'm not leaving for another 3.5 years, as I was lucky enough to be voted in for a second term. But it's been an honor to be the mayor of my hometown that I was born and raised in, got to come back, and to have that recognition is something that I will take with me after I long leave here. So thank you so much. It's been an honor to serve you. So with that, I will hand it over to Mr. Jared.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as you stated, tonight is before you is coming back the selection of the mayor and the mayor pro tem. The ordinance that council asked me to draft was approved and has now become final. And the issue before you was tabled from started on the December 17th meeting and then tabled until after the procedures could be adopted to more clearly outline a process for the internal proceeding to allow for the nomination and nominations to be closed by a simple majority. So on page 270 of the packet, there are the 17 steps effectively that are outlined in that ordinance. And the first is, it's very clear that the role or the position of mayor would first be selected, go through the remaining of the process, and then go through the process for mayor pro tem. So the first part of the process is effectively it would be a simple majority for selection of the mayor and then the mayor pro tem. That the presiding officer, meaning yourself as the current sitting mayor, would proceed or preside over this process currently, and that you would call for nominations. Each council member would have the opportunity to make a nomination for mayor, including themselves and including any number of others that they wanted to propose as mayor to be voted upon. Those were two issues that there was some ambiguity when we first started this process back in December. And then after each member has had the option to nominate, then there would be, as before, the request to close, a motion to close the nominations. That motion would be a simple majority, meaning 3 affirmative votes would be required to close that nomination. And then you would vote on that process. A ballot procedure would be used as before. And then if there are 3 affirmative votes to make an appointment, that person would be appointed as mayor. You would then turn to then the new mayor would take office and then go through the process of mayor pro tem.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, we will then go to this is item 11T, the appointment of the mayor. So at this time we'll open up nominations for the mayor at this time.
I'd like to nominate Colleen Baker.
And we have a
For mayor.
nomination for Colleen Baker. Any other nomination this time? I'll close nominations and our request for a vote to close nominations at this time.
I vote to close nominations.
I have a motion from Councilman Clare. I'll second the motion. I'll do roll call. Councilman Clare,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Councilman McCoy.
Before I give you my vote, I'll tell you, we teach our children to play within the rules. We ask them to play within the rules. Unfortunately, as adults, we don't like to stay within the rules. We like to get the city attorney to do our bidding for us. I'll vote no.
And no. And I will abstain. So the motion passes 3-2. Motion passes 3 with 3 votes. Majority 3 votes. Okay. Oh. Is he getting the ballots?
With one nomination, it was.
Okay, so we're done. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Okay.
proceeded.
Okay, then we don't have to get the ballots. Okay. So we can skip that part. That makes it easy. That makes it easy.
So now we vote
So
on that person. not on
we
the
vote,
nomination.
right? Okay. Right. We don't have to do that part.
Okay, you voted for it.
Oh,
That was the nomination closed the nomination.
Right.
Now it is voting.
right.
Now it's the voting on the one person who is
Right.
nominated.
That's why I was asking if he was we did getting the ballots for that.
Ballots now passed out. It's
Okay.
effectively a post-it note.
Okay. Yeah.
And the upper left-hand corner, your own name. And then in the center, you put your vote for who you would vote for from the nominations. In this case, there's only one person to vote for. And then the votes will be.
Thank you.
tabulated after.
We have to put
Is this
first
an
and last
official
name.
ballot?
No, it's not secret ballot.
We have to put our first name, last name.
And again, the person you can vote for is from the nomination, and there's only the one nomination for Councilmember Baker.
Are these going to be tabulated by a machine?
The clerk's office.
So the rules state that the clerk would read the ballot.
Good evening, members of council. I have a vote for Colleen Baker from Drake Davis. I have a vote from Colleen Baker for Colleen Baker. I have no vote from Corey Middleton. I have a no from Paul McCoy. And I have a vote from James Clare for Colleen Baker.
All right. Motion passed 3-0. And Ms. Colleen Baker will be our new mayor tonight. I said, now you'll be our new mayor. So now you come over here and we select our,
I think
Oh.
it's okay. I'll just stay here tonight.
oh, okay.
Because your microphone intimidates me.
It's,
Anyway.
it's awkward.
uh,
We'll get used to it because you get to take over it.
So, Mr. Middleton, I'd like to thank you for your service as mayor to the city of Wairika. I know that we all share a love of the city, and that's why we're here on the council. So thank you for your time. And I believe that we all work well together, and I'm looking forward to just driving Wairika into the future to be prosperous. So thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations. Thanks.
Okay, so next on the agenda is the selection of the mayor pro tem. And so I will open up nominations for mayor pro tem.
I will nominate Councilman Clerk.
It's my pleasure to nominate Drake Davis.
We have a nomination for Drake Davis and a nomination for Councilman Claire. And do you guys, I guess they have to accept, correct? Or why am I talking? Sorry. Sorry, I took over your job already. You know what?
So
I'm used to being here all the time. Sorry. We've never done it this way in the past. We finished off and moved on, so.
Are there any other nominations for mayor pro tem?
I'll nominate myself.
Okay, there being no further nominations, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations for mayor pro tem.
I'll make the motion to close the nomination.
Corey.
I'll second the motion. So now we'll pass the ballots out.
There is,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, sorry. I'm so new at this. Okay, so what are the wishes of the council regarding closing nominations? Correct?
We have the first and second, correct? Yeah.
So Councilman Claire,
I vote to close nominations.
Councilman McCoy,
Aye.
Councilman Middleton,
Aye.
Councilman Davis,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So the motion passes unanimously.
the nomination, I'm sorry, the nominations are now closed. There is a step that was not followed of public comment, that is
Oh.
at item 13. So at this point, if any member of the public wanted to comment prior to the vote, they could do so.
Oh, okay. So I'll open it up for public comment at this time. If anybody would like to make public comments. There's no public comment, so I'll close public comment.
But this time it would be appropriate again to vote, again, putting your name at the upper left-hand corner and the party who you are selecting in the center. The two to vote for are Councilmember Claire and Councilmember Davis.
Whoops. From the microphone.
Okay, good evening. I have a vote for Drake Davis as Mayor Pro Tem from Drake Davis. I have a vote for Drake Davis from Colleen Baker. Sorry, I almost knocked my computer off. I have a vote for James Clare as Mayor Pro Tem from Paul McCoy. I have a vote from James Clare for James Clare. And I have a vote for James Clare as Mayor Pro Tem from Corey Middleton.
Congratulations. Mayor Pro Tem Claire, did you want to make any comments?
I just wanted to echo what you said earlier for both of you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everything. I'll be looking to everybody for going further and what I can do to improve, make the council, us all work together. So thank you.
Thank you. So next on the agenda, is that swearing in of the mayor and the mayor pro tem by the city clerk.
Yeah, so that item was put on the agenda as a placeholder to effectively do this place changing that's occurring now and the changing of nameplates. The practice in the city is not to have an official swearing in or any type of ceremonial. The practice in the past has been effectively, as has happened now, changing places and you proceed. So congratulations.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, council.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is city manager and staff reports.
I have a staff report while Jason's doing all that fun stuff over there. Hello. So I prepared a first quarter building department memo for the council members. So we are essentially entering a recession, most likely. And so one of the first industries that feels a recession is the construction industry. And it's one of those industries we want to keep moving, throughout the city, even if it is just a trickle of the faucet. And so I will be preparing quarterly updates for you on the permits, what we're seeing happening with those types of permits and valuation. And so I'll hand these out to you afterwards, and I have them available if anyone else would like one. But essentially right now we've issued about 41 permits this year. And the difference here is we have issued permits and finalized permits. So issued is when they come in, go through plan check, they get a permit from us, they've gone through that first part, and then they're in construction or renovation. A finalized permit is essentially when they get their final inspection for occupancy or finalizing that product. So you'll hear both numbers, and these are numbers we have to report to the state and several other financial and federal institutions. And so for the first quarter, we had 41 permits issued. That is up from last year, which is a good sign. And we finalized 28 permits. And so the total valuation, which is the total cost of what those improvements would be on all of those 41 projects, is about $500,000, a little bit over that. Good news is the permits are up. We're looking at electrical work, service upgrades, residential re-roofs, HVAC installations, and commercial signage. And so if the council will remember from several meetings ago, one of our code enforcement priorities for this summer is working with the properties along Highway 3 and other major thoroughfares within the city to go through and do sign compliance. It's one of my least favorite things to do because signs are annoying and they're First Amendment rights. So we have a lot of jurisdictional stuff to navigate through for signage, but we are working with the commercial properties to do upgrades or to demo those signs. And so we're giving them that option so that we can get a nicer facelift on Highway 3, which looks so nice. And so we did get 3 commercial signage permits issued, which is great. Working with the other ones throughout the summer to get those done. They are quite expensive to remodel, so we are giving people ample amount of time to do that. We did have 5 permits that were voided or withdrawn. Voided permits are those that have not had an inspection for 180 days and have not responded to department requests for information on extensions or updates. We can give additional 180 days, which is 6 months extension, if they request it. We do send letters within 30 days of the expiration now. It is an internal practice that we do, and we offer that free of charge. And so we just need someone to contact us and go, yeah, I need a little bit more time to finish my permit. Happy to grant that. Withdrawn permits are those that are withdrawn by the contractor or property owner for whatever reason that they state. So we did have 5 permits withdrawn and voided during the first quarter. So again, we are up about 51% in the number of permits issued, but we are down significantly in the total valuation, which is pretty typical for what we would see for a pre-recession construction, which is you have a lot of people doing smaller projects that are more manageable, and they're doing improvements like energy efficiency to save money on bills. They're doing re-roofs for their insurance claims. And so to see the valuation go down is not necessarily a bad thing, but we are going to be watching that. It means that we have less commercial activity. And then permits finalized, we are down about 15% from last year. So again, I covered those key observations. And in addition to that, some permit shifts that we've seen year to year is that we're seeing more requests for electrical service upgrades and re-roof activities, and HVAC installations, particularly mini splits, have significantly increased. So again, there's a fun little section on outside economic trends that could be impacting the observed permit trends. These are all speculative, but these are just several different things that we're watching with the markets as we go forward. One of the things we do use these economic trends for and view our permit changes is that we do have a series of recommendations at the end that we'll be working on. For example, if we do happen to see an even greater downturn in the economy and we see people essentially stop building, that then notifies us to come in and talk to you all about financial programming to assist people to encourage construction. So essentially in a recession, we're going to lose money in the building side. It's just how much money are you going to use? And generally speaking, in the construction industries or similar industries related to construction, it's better to keep the crew moving and lose a little bit of money than to have nobody working at all. And so we may come to you at some point in the next quarter with a recommendation for reduction in building fees, requests for grant applications to assist with individual property owners to improve their facilities so that they're stimulating the economy through the construction industry. So we'll be watching that pretty closely. So there's several different things in here to take a look at, but we will come back to you at Q2 to give you an update on that. Or if we do see a pretty significant downturn in the building activity, we will come at a sooner date to recommend how to kind of proceed to keep the economy running. One thing to note is, if we do a reduction in building fees, really what that is doing is, even though we are subsidizing building permits with general fund revenues, those dollars are essentially staying in your economy. And so those construction workers are buying your food, which then pays your sales tax, which essentially we will recoup some of those funds that we do subsidize for individuals. So that's the thought process of why we're doing this activity, why we're making it public for the members who are here, is that this is something we closely monitor so that we can give you better recommendations to keep the city running. So thank you.
Thank you.
Miss-
Mr. Ledbetter.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I just have one brief announcement. And that is that Friday, May 16th, the Sacramento Valley Regional Cal League of Cities Division meeting will be happening here in Wairika. My understanding is that this starts at the Carnegie Library tour at noon, and then lunch and presentations will be proceeding at Miners Inn Convention Center. If you are a Wairika City Council member, you are already registered. You only need to show up. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Do we have any other staff reports? Chief Gilman.
Hello, council. Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
the mayor and the mayor pro tem. Congratulations. And to Jason. So mine's pretty short. I'm going to do some stats. I just wanted to say thank you to Jason before I started. And the stats will be a little bit different tonight because I just wanted to highlight a little bit of Jason, of what he's done. And it's been a pleasure working with you. We've shared our experiences together in private, so I don't need to drag it on, but everyone should know, I think I'm the longest serving person in the city. I started here in 1986, part-time, came back from overseas duty, and then I started again in 1990. I've seen a lot of city managers. I've seen a lot of changes in the city. This is the most progressive I've ever seen our city and the city manager. So I really appreciate that. And we learned a lot in the fires. So the reason I brought that up the way I was going to talk about stats is I happen to look at city data, which is a public, anyone can look at city data. And when we got here, we had a crime problem. We had a lot of turmoil in the city and a lot of stuff going on. I just happened to notice that the latest crime city data is, for the first time in over 14 years, Wairika has been below the California average. We were triple the California average the year before. We are now below the California average. We're at a 134, which is what they base off of 100,000. They do the metric for that. California is at a 240. 134 is the lowest we've been as far back as I can see on the data at city data. A lot of that is what you guys have done and what Jason has done as city manager, giving me the tools I needed. We're still below the average in California for officers per population. And even we're very close, but even being below that, we have brought crime down to a lower rate than 14 years. It's lower than 14 years ago. Just 14 years ago, we dipped below the California average barely. So that's pretty impressive, especially since the California average has been kind of a flat line, just a very limited flat line. So it's not like it went way up this year or anything. It stayed pretty similar, and we've dropped that by 3 times. So that's pretty impressive. And that's a lot of thank you to Jason, giving me the support I needed. Just some brief stats. I gave some stats 3 weeks ago, and just to catch up in the 3 weeks since then, we've handled 987 calls. We've taken 83 cases. We've made 92 traffic stops, 45 arrests in the 3 weeks. 11 of those arrests were for drugs. We had one major drug bust that our task force was involved in that got a sales case, which meant a lot to me. We also had 2 armed robberies in Wairika, which is pretty rare. We had one with a knife and one with a pistol. Ended up being the same suspect, and we caught him during the second one. My guys tracked him down with help from the sheriff's department. The sheriff's deputy actually got the description of the subject and had seen him as we were putting the description out. So armed robberies are done. So that was good. We had 2 arsons. Our DUIs are way up. We've been doing, I've been authorizing overtime to come out and work traffic enforcement because we get traffic complaints and also DUI enforcements. We have 1 officer who's doing outstanding, but we had 3 DUIs in that time frame, 9 drunks, and issued 30 citations. So
Thank you.
thank you, and thank you, Jason. Wouldn't be possible without you.
Are there any other staff reports at this time? Okay. So I will move on to item 13, which is the mayor, council members' reports, statements, and requests. And Councilmember McCoy, I'll start with you.
Congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you also, sir. Jason, I'm gonna miss you personally. I'll miss you professionally. You have herded millions of cats for the last 40 months, and you've done a masterful job at it. There's a statue to honor you in the Boston Common. I'm gonna tell you that if we go back, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay? The only thing that I'm gonna say is, again, is thank you to all your staff. All your staff has done a wonderful job. Between you and Randy, you've established a great staff. We're lucky to have you. We have some things that we as a council and our new leadership need to focus on, in my opinion. We got a fire hall that we need to that we need to do, that Jason's been pushing. We've got a pool that hopefully we can get built within the next 10 years. I think a big thing for me is to get, because we haven't been able to do it in the last year and 6 months, is to look at systematically upgrading our ordinances, not doing one at a time, which is kind of what we've been doing as we go along, but we need a systematic upgrade of the ordinances. I hope the council will join with me to push that through, whether we use a current law firm or we get a law firm that can handle it and just do that for us. I hope that the 4 of you will join with me in pushing for that. In addition, I would like to push for somebody independent that we don't have that we don't have employed yet to come in and do code of conduct, because again, it's been over 2 years and we haven't been able to get that done. So I hope the 4 of you will push with me to get that done as soon as possible. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Middleton.
Thank you. I don't think I have anything else to say. I said everything to Jason, my departure. Congratulations to Pro Tem elect Claire, and to you as well, Mayor elect Baker. I just have one request for an agenda to put on. I don't know if Jason wants to write it for for the next, or someone taking notes. Okay, someone taking notes. Okay, is that I want to bring back discussion to visit our time frame for our speakers to be 3 minutes from 5 minutes, if we can bring that back possibly to discuss. Because at this time, we're the only city in Siskiyou County that allows 5 minutes, and I know the county doesn't allow 5 minutes, and the other city allows that amount of time. So I'd like to come back and revisit a 3-minute time period for the speakers. With that, I will end. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis.
Excuse me. The Fire Safe Council had a meeting on April 24th, which we had a closed session meeting. And it was in regards to house hardening and reduction of fuels in the area people lived. And they have another one on May 17th. It's at Greenhorn Grange. And they will help you identify problem trees and problem bushes around a home and stuff. It's a pretty good program, worth seeing. The other thing is the Outson Road project that we've been hearing about for 2 or 3 years. I think we might be getting to it here pretty quick. So that's another fuel reduction on the Fire Safe Council. I believe that's all that I want to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll start off my report this evening with a huge thank you to the City of Wairika, the Public Works Department, for facilitating getting the pothole at the corner of Bruce and South Oregon taken care of. I drove over it tonight and it was just smooth. So I'm sincerely, would you pass along my thanks to, believe Ben Miller was who I heard facilitated that.
Absolutely. We're equally excited as staff members as well.
So thank you for that. And Mr. Elsnab, congratulations. We look forward to working with you. And we're very excited to have you join us. So on April 22nd, I attended the Citizen of the Year committee meeting where we're planning the 2025 Citizen of the Year celebration. On April 24th, I attended the Finance Committee meeting and a special closed session. On April 25th, I met with the city manager, and I also held open chamber hours in here, and I will be doing that Friday afternoons from 2:30 to 3:30. No appointment necessary, just drop on by and say hi. Let me see. I also did the same on May 2nd. I had open chamber hours. In the community, I attended the Red Scarf Society for the Performing Arts concert of the Moaning Frogs, and it was so enjoyable. It was 6 saxophone players that just did put on just a phenomenal performance. It was a really fun afternoon. And Chief Lemus, I have my tickets for the Wairika Firemen's Benefit dinner and dance on May 31st. So I want to encourage everybody here to get tickets if at all possible. Mr. Ledbetter mentioned the League of California Cities meeting here in Wairika on May 16th. And I have a request for the city clerk for the next agenda to put committee appointments on. And if you have council members, if you have preferences of the committees that you would like to sit on, could you please just email me that information? And again, I just want to thank the council for their support. And as far as I'm concerned, I pledge to work side by side with each and every one of you, again, for the betterment of the city of Wairika. And is there any other business to come before the council this evening?
Oh.
Making the switch of the gavel. If not, I'll adjourn the meeting at 8:36. Thank you.
Oh.